Welcome to the Haunted Hangover podcast. I'm Louie, and as always, I'm joined by my bud Dave.
What is up? We here.
We back.
We out
and we're opening the show a little differently in this episode. I think we've only ever done this one other time, and it's when we tried eggnog with cereal. The grimy recommendation. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
I think that was a year ago. I think during the holidays we did that.
It is. It was fucking good. It's too much, but it's good.
It is too much. It was too much. I have to revisit that again in the future. But this taste test is going to be one-sided because I'm alone.
This is all you. This is all Louie.
But I want some feedback from you. I
think I've had it before, but you go first.
So we're opening the show. Obviously, the title of this episode is Favorite Halloween Scenes from Non-Halloween Movies Part 2.
I think favorite is a term to be used loosely. I think we're more so just going with scenes that we appreciate in non-Halloween movies.
Well, to me, these are two of my favorites.
Okay, that's fair. They're both. It's both. That's fair.
Yeah, so that's kind of maybe...
You know what? One of them is my favorite too, so I shouldn't say that.
Come on, Dave.
Come
on.
All right.
But yeah, so this was spur of the moment because the last, I'd say, month or two, I've been seeing people post up how excited they are for this to return, for this to come back. The Royal Rumble was 2 weeks ago, and one of the matches was themed after this very drink.
It's amazing.
And it featured your boy, Bray Wyatt. So I felt like after seeing, and honestly, I couldn't find it. I think I stumbled in a random 7-Eleven in like New Jersey, and I saw it because the 7-Elevens by me in Queens did not have this drink. But I saw it randomly. I wasn't even looking for it. I was looking for something else. And I was like, oh, shit, they have this here. I'll grab one and drink it on the show. But that is Mtn Dew Pitch Black.
Okay.
All right. By the way, the Bray Wyatt match, which happened a few weeks ago, it was called a Pitch Black match.
Did the loser get doused in Mountain Dew?
That would have made the match better. Unfortunately, all it was a neon. Everything was neon. They had like black lights on everything. Confetti, glowing confetti, like shot out.
How creative.
Yeah, and then like Bray Wyatt had like he had black light makeup. So when he came out, it was normal lighting. And then when they turned the black lights on, his face was all evil and scared. And he had like grills on, like fan grills. It was quite amusing. Yeah. And there was a giant pitch black, Mtn Dew Pitch Black emblem in the ring, which reminded me of the old like Slim Jim promotions. Remember when they used to have Slim Jim all over the WCW ring? So I just got a kick out of it. And when I saw that during the Royal Rumble, I wasn't really clamoring to find it and drink it because this is going to be a shocker. I've never had Mtn Dew Pitch Black. I'm losing. I
tried it last season. This past season.
Oh, you were able to. No, Mtn Dew Voodoo is maybe what you're getting it confused with.
Oh, maybe it is then.
So I have a little spiel.
It probably tastes the same.
We'll find out in a second. So basically, this drink, I saw that. I stumbled across it. I'm seeing everyone talk about it. I was like, I got to try this goddamn drink for once in my life because I've never had it before. And I thought, why not we just open a show with me trying Mtn Dew Pitch Black? A little quick history lesson. You probably have had this, but you just didn't. You don't remember. You obviously.
It tastes the same. It tastes like Skittles. That's the fucking bottom line.
And I'm going to get to that in a sec. So originally, this drink was first released in 2004 during the Halloween season. Hence why I wanted to try it on the podcast. Okay. And it was a black grape flavor. The dark color is what gives it the evil vibe.
Grape soda is amazing.
I haven't had grape soda.
It's so good.
In at least a decade. If I'm being
I love
100% honest.
It's so bad for you, but I really fuck with soda. I'm not even gonna lie.
You drink it way more. I think we've talked about it before. You drink it way more. You drink soda way more than I. Like root beer and stuff. We've mentioned all that on the show before. Listen, you're a big fan.
Listen, if I'm out to dinner with friends,
that's your vice.
Pizza, dude. Yeah, 100%. I'm having a soda with my dinner, like 100%.
You don't do the hard stuff. You have a soda. That's Dave's vice. But yeah, this drink came out in 2004 during the Halloween season, black grape flavor, right? in 2004 when this came out, I don't even remember seeing this on shelves. Do you? I don't.
No, honestly, I don't think during that time I honestly can't even remember that time.
I graduated high school at that point. Like, I don't remember seeing this everywhere. The only thing I see people always constantly promoting this, and you probably have seen it, Dave, is there's like this creature from the Black Lagoon standee holding a bottle of this. I've seen several people post that up on social media a bunch of times. But yeah, 2004 Halloween season, we got Pitch Black, the original incarnation that was black grape flavor. Then in 2005, we have Pitch Black 2, the sequel for the Halloween season, and they changed it. It was a dark citrus punch. So they reformed a new formula for this soda.
Do you think Vin Diesel made it?
Pitch Black 2 specifically, not part 1, just the second one. Vin Diesel popped up fighting alien monsters or whatever.
My man Vinny Diesel.
Yo, just like never having Pitch Black, Mountain Dew Pitch Black, I've never seen the Pitch Black movies. So
I think I've seen the first one.
Never had.
I didn't know there was sequels, but I think I've seen the first one.
I think it's like Riddick is one of them. I've never had.
Know.
I've never had.
They're stupid.
I've never had any interest in watching them. I'm not a Vin Diesel fan, if I'm being completely honest. So yes, Pitch Black, the soda. they discontinued it after the 2005 Halloween season, and they brought it back in the summer of 2011, which is, I guess, where they decided to put the kibosh on it being a Halloween soda, and it was just like, all right, we're gonna release it, drop it in the summer, and it was just a normal Mountain Dew. And this is really interesting, and I want your take on this. In 2015, so it got discontinued again. Came and went a lot. 2004, 5, 2011. Now we're up to 2015. They ran a contest. People love this soda so much that they ran a contest on social media that like 1,050, 1050, 1,050 numbers, not my strong suit, but they could win some Pitch Black if they use the hashtag We Want Pitch Black. Weird that like 1,000 people would get a soda. Isn't that odd? Isn't that just like, that's so strange? The hashtag We Want Pitch Black, and then they pick a winner and send you a soda. They do that shit now. I'm not up to date with all like the junk food shit, only unless it's Halloween related. So I've seen like Grimy always sending me like maple like French toast flavored Pepsi that's like limited. It's like limited to like 500 people that submit something. So weird, these contests for sodas. It's insane.
Yeah.
So that was 2015. 2016, they had something called the Dew-cision. And what this was is people voted if they wanted Baja Blast, which I have had several times, or Pitch Black. And Pitch Black won. And the winner of that, basically Dew-cision was Pitch Black, and it would become permanent. So, which is funny because Baja Blast is at every Taco Bell. I don't know if you know that. So you've probably have had that one before. Baja Blast. It's like a neon green. It's not neon green.
Probably.
It's like a turquoise green Mountain Dew, not neon green like the original Mountain Dew.
Okay.
So that was 2016, right? And Pitch Black became permanent. I use that air quotes. And once again discontinued and showed up sporadically through 2019 and 2022. It just continued to be discontinued, and you'd find it in random places. It's one of those, it's almost like the creepypasta of soda. It's like you see it it's like you see it sometimes, but then it's gone. It's like, is it real? Is it not real? And I never paid attention to this
like until the McRib.
It's like the exactly. I think it's like Mountain Dew's version of the McRib. They literally, dude, I feel like every 5, and I don't eat the McRib for obvious reasons, but
I've never had it either.
I feel like Mountain Dew, McDonald's has said, oh, say goodbye to the McRib every like 3 years, and then they bring that shit back anyway because people love it. So
there's like a niche group that like will sign a petition to fucking bring the McRib back. I can't ever imagine that being any good. But hey, if
did you ever want to try the McRib? Were you ever curious about it?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a shitty version of like a school sandwich you get on the like the school lunch line,
smothered in barbecue sauce.
Right, like just like really shitty meat smothered in barbecue sauce to mask the bad taste. I don't know. I don't want to try it.
Never
Maybe I'll
appealed
try
to
it one day.
And you dabble in the meat, so it's that
I
doesn't
do.
sound. That
However,
doesn't,
you want to know? That sounds
dude, that does
bad.
not. You dabble
You know what?
in the meat.
No, it doesn't sound bad. That's just not the way I swing. But hey, what was I gonna say? This entire week, I've eaten vegan dinners every single night.
That's good. That's good. That's
Yep.
always a good thing. But moving on from the McRib and vegan diets, so 2023, they brought back Pitch Black. It made its triumphant return in earlier this year, literally within the last month or so. It's come back, and they brought back the classic, I'm assuming dark citrus punch flavor, which I'm holding, and they brought back a Pitch Black Zero and a Pitch Black energy drink. So all of that was brought back
They're really
this year.
running the gauntlet with this.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks because I wish they would have brought this back for Halloween. And that goes back to what you said earlier, that you think you had it. You had you had Mountain Dew Voodoo, which I feel kind of took over for Pitch Black. That's like their new thing now every Halloween. So there's no more Pitch Black during the Halloween season. You just get it like whenever they feel like releasing it. And then we get Voodoo every year, which is a mystery flavor. It's not supposed, last year was Sour Patch. One year I think it was strawberry or Skittles or some shit. We did a video together a few years ago taste testing Mountain Dew Voodoo, and I think you said it tasted like coconut for some reason.
Or Skittles. It's always Skittles.
It's always Skittles to you. But yeah, they brought this back. I thought it'd be fun to try it here, see if I like it, lose my Mountain Dew Pitch Black virginity here on the air. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you can see, but like for some reason there's little like planets and shit on here, so it's not Halloween-y at all. What they should have done is put Bray Wyatt's face on it after that Royal Rumble Pitch Black match.
That would sell a lot.
Missed opportunity, WWE and Mountain Dew. Bray Wyatt's face should be right here, just drinking a fucking Pitch Black.
I agree.
But yes, let me crack this open and give it a taste.
I'm gonna sip my seltzer when you sip your Pitch Black.
Look at that! You can hear the
fizz.
bubbles. ASMR. Zzz. Smells very citrusy. Smells like Mountain Dew. Smells like you said. What all these Mountain Dew sodas smell the same. It's fucking, and they're all supposed to be different flavors. It makes no sense. So it makes no sense. But yes, cheers. Let's give this a sipple.
It's probably good.
Oh, caffeine content. I could use some of that right now. It's been a long day.
There you go.
It's citrusy, not grape. It's okay. I'm not a big citrus soda guy. Like I was never into like Sprite and stuff like that.
Every
really.
now and then it's all right.
Mountain Dew and not like Mountain Dew, exactly. Like the regular Mountain Dew, I don't ever drink. Like that wasn't my sodas were always like Dr. Pepper, root beer, things like that. That was always kind of
Dr. Pepper, root beer. So let me ask you this: what do you like better? Now there is a distinct difference between the two of these, and then I'm going to compare the two of them to the one, but then we're going to compare the two that I'm comparing to the one. Does that make sense? So
gotcha.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Okay. Now, I don't love. I mean, I fuck with Coke, but I do like Pepsi more. However, if the option for Mexican Coke
that's way
is on the
better.
table, then I'm going for the Mexican Coke.
Mexican Coke is amazing because they use like real sugar, cane sugar.
The pure cane sugar, right.
Which always makes it. It's no high I forget, is there high fructose corn syrup in the
I don't know. I have no idea, but
there's high fructose corn syrup in all these sodas. So, and what was the other part of the question? You said there was another.
Well, that was a saying.
Oh, okay.
So we're comparing Coke to Pepsi, but then we're comparing Coke to Coke.
So Coke to Mexican Coke.
Right.
You got to put a little asterisk next to that because Mexican Coke is definitely better than regular Coke. But yeah, to close out the Mountain Dew Pitch Black here, it's okay. Citrusy. I like the black color of it. It's honestly not that sweet. I prefer the Voodoo. I like the clear color of the Voodoo. And I've enjoyed the mystery flavors because they're so distinct and different. I know to you it tastes like Skittles, but I can kind of taste the subtle differences between the different Voodoos from Mountain Dew. This is okay. Again, people go crazy over this, but I think that's when nostalgia plays into people overhyping shit. You know what I mean? And again, it's cool that this was a Halloween soda. If you look at advertisements and stuff for it from back in the day, if you're not familiar with Mountain Dew Pitch Black, there were some cool Halloween ads, but I'll have this once in my life, and I think I'll live. I won't be hashtagging "We Want Pitch Black."
This Halloween, it's unleashed.
Hello? Someone there?
It's waiting for you. You can't run. You can't hide.
What?
New Mountain Dew Pitch Black Limited Edition.
All right, bud. So let's jump into the main topic of the show, not the soda minute that we were just talking about.
That was not a minute.
That was the soda 15 minutes.
It was not a soda minute.
Where we just talked about soda for 20 minutes. But yeah, once again, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite, using that word loosely, favorite Halloween scenes from non-Halloween movies. It's been over a year since we discussed this topic. The last time, I believe, was 2021. We had Luce from the It's Always Halloween podcast. Right? It's Always Halloween is her podcast.
Yep.
And we talked about a couple of different films that aren't necessarily Halloween movies, but have either iconic or infamous or just personal favorite Halloween scenes in them that we love. And you know what? I'm going to be very honest here. At the top with my picks, I kind of went with some basic answers. I would call them two very they're great movies, and I love both of them a lot, but I wouldn't say mine are very exotic. They're not like deep cut.
No.
Like, I didn't go pretentious with
mine
my
are a
picks.
little deep cut.
Yours are a little more deep cut, which is good. It's a good balance. But I went with these are two scenes I've wanted us, because I've mentioned it to you before. I've wanted to talk about these two scenes that I picked on the show for a while, because they're both two huge movies that everybody knows about. Everybody knows about these movies in pop culture. But I've always kind of avoided it because of that. But I was like, you know what? This is the year that we're going to talk about them. And because of that, and because I kind of built it up, I'm going to go first. I'm going to jump into my first pick.
You look great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bud. So my first pick, my first favorite Halloween scene from a non-Halloween movie, now very infamous scene, is from E.T., the 1982 film E.T.
Dude.
Yeah.
I don't even remember this. I haven't seen E.T. since I was a kid. So when I watched this, I was like, it's a great scene. It really is.
So,
I was like, I gotta watch E.T.
Dude, E.T. is amazing. It's one of my favorite movies. So
yeah, I have to watch it again. I don't remember. I have any recollection of it.
Dude, the fact that you don't remember this scene until I showed you a clip of it is wild to me.
Is that Dee Wallace as the mom? Is she the mom?
That is Dee Wallace. Yeah. So yeah, everyone knows E.T. You've got Elliot. You know, an alien gets left behind on planet Earth. He befriends the alien. He's trying to help E.T. go home, phone home. And, you know, he gets taken by the government and they have to save him. Everyone knows E.T., the infamous scene of him and E.T. flying over the moon and the kids flying on their bikes. Every nostalgic show now, like Stranger Things, owes a lot to E.T. There's so much of E.T. that's in like a show like Stranger Things. But one of the best things about E.T. is it's set around Halloween. It's not a Halloween film. I wouldn't categorize it as a Halloween film, because most of the movie you don't see Halloween decorations until this two or three scenes, I'd say. It's more than one scene. I'm kind of cheating. It's kind of a segment of scenes that I'm going to talk about. Too. Yeah. And you don't really, it's set in California, so you don't get that autumn vibe. But the fact that it's an 80s film, the fact that they do such a great job with these scenes that take place during the holiday just makes it one of the best things about the movie, especially being a Halloween fan, just loving the holiday. This scene, you don't even have to, what's funny about this scene, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong and if you agree with me, but
okay,
you haven't seen this movie in years.
I might as well never have seen it.
But
at this point,
tell me not, watching this one little scene, you didn't even need to see the rest of the movie. It's almost like a little movie into itself, right? Like
it's just a really well done Halloween scene. Like
just everything about it. Now let's go through the scene briefly.
Sure.
So basically, at this point in the film, it's Halloween, and Elliot finds out that E.T. wants the phone home. He wants to build this little mechanism and take it out to the field and use it to send signals to his planet alien people, his friends, his family, and to come down and save him and bring him back to his planet. Now, the entire setup, their idea for this scene, for this, the way to get E.T. out of the house, because he is an alien and he's very obvious, and he's obviously an alien, is they dress him up as a ghost. And it's so funny, dude. The whole setup is hilarious. They dress him up as a ghost, and they're going to leave Elliot, E.T., and his older brother, Michael. They're going to leave and pretend that E.T. as the sheet ghost is the little sister. I think it's Gordy or Gertie is her name in the movie, and played by Drew Barrymore. And they're just going to take him outside and kind of sneak him through the streets and then take him to the woods where he can set up his little device. So what happens is, since it's Halloween and Dee Wallace, like you said, is the mother, and this is one of my favorite aspects of this of the scene and just how authentic it is with it being the holiday. And I want to know your thoughts on it. How excited Dee Wallace is to see them in their costumes and then take a picture on the Polaroid of them. That whole setup, I remember even as a kid, my mom wanted to take photos of me in my costume. Like, all right, me and my sister, get together. Let's take a bunch of pictures. You look so cute in your costumes. And that's what this entire scene is up until they go outside to go trick-or-treating, which they never do because it's all a con job to get E.T. outside. But just that whole scene, Dee Wallace dressed up as a cat, like a sexy cat, interesting enough.
She looks good.
Respectfully, I agree.
Yeah, she looks good.
And I always thought this was interesting. So Michael, the older brother, he's dressed up as a terrorist.
Costume is great.
It's terrorist. Did you catch that line?
I don't. How is that a terrorist?
I don't know. So what happens in the scene before they go downstairs, right? You can hear Dee Wallace yelling at him, telling him, you're not going to go outside dressed as a terrorist. And then the fight just ends and he's dressed like that way anyway.
And he's like, all my friends are going as terrorists.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's definitely a product of the 80s that it's cool to go outside dressed up as a terrorist. And it is weird because this is what I take. And I almost feel like something was cut out of the scene. He wasn't wearing that stupid bowler hat. I could see that he was just probably wearing army fatigue pants, a black T-shirt, the beard, and then the knife through the head. And his mom was like, "Oh, put on this hat to look like Groucho or what, like a character,
look like a clown or something."
Yeah. And I feel like that's something that was cut out of the movie. That's why he's wearing that dumb bowler hat on top, like the Odd Job hat on his head. Mm-hmm. But yeah, really interesting costumes. Elliot dressed up as like a ghoul. It's like a zombie with the hood, which is great too. The classic sheet ghost on E.T.
Classic.
But one of the best moments to me, and I always do laugh in this scene, and I guess it's because I know the movie so well, is when Dee Wallace, the mom, is going to take a photo of them. She thinks it's her 3 kids and doesn't realize it's an alien like 3 feet away from her. And when she's complimenting them, she's like, "Oh, you guys look great. You look so good." Elliot says thank you. Michael says thank you. And then E.T. says thank you. Like you hear his little weird alien.
It's not a child.
It's not. And she doesn't. It goes right over her head. She's completely oblivious that that's not even her kid. It's a fucking alien. But just that whole setup is phenomenal. I love how they have candles set up, like lit candles set up throughout the entire house. Did you notice that? There's like just candles set up everywhere. And just again, that whole setup is phenomenal. And then what ends up happening, and probably the icing on the cake when it comes to this scene, there's another really funny sequence here that plays out. Another little joke, inside joke kind of. They go outside and they're wandering the streets, and we're getting these POV shots of E.T. walking through the sheet. Yeah, through the sheet. And he's looking at all the kids in their Halloween costumes trick-or-treating. And he's just amazed by it. He's making all these little sounds and stuff. And he sees another kid dressed up as Yoda. And you hear like a little Star Wars melody play from the Star Wars movies. Yeah. And he starts to turn and walk towards the Yoda saying, phone home, home. Like, and they're like pulling E.T. away. So it's so funny because it's almost implying that he recognizes that maybe an alien from his planet looks like Yoda.
Dude, it's like it's like when a dog walks past another dog and then they try to like go at each other, like, or be next to each other. It's funny.
Yeah, dude, just the way it all plays out. And then, the way they end that sequence with the silhouettes on the sunset just looks great. Like, just
reminds me of Halloween 3.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, it reminds me of Halloween 3 too. Just this entire scene is just pure gold, man. Like, it's gold when it comes to Halloween.
It's great.
Nostalgia, 80s Halloween, and even like some of the decorations on the houses, even though it doesn't have that like autumn feel.
It has a feel to it though. It's not like it's completely gone.
For sure. And I feel that's just because it's the 80s, so like that's why it has that feel. It doesn't feel flat. It feels alive. Even the kids trick-or-treating in the scene.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, there's just stuff always happening. The costumes are great. There's like a ghoul, zombie, lizard-looking face.
Zombie, yeah.
And he's just amazed at every single character he sees, every costume he sees. And then, what's one more funny thing about this scene is you see Drew Barrymore. She's a cowgirl. That's her real costume. But she's got the sheet over her head and waiting for them at like the meeting point. And she looks so bummed. It's like she didn't get to go trick-or-treating or anything. So it's just funny. Like, they fucked over like her Halloween, basically. She wasn't able, they fucked her over. She couldn't have a good Halloween.
Gotta get home.
Yeah, exactly. With his clown shoes and his literally wearing clown shoes on his sheet. You know what's another funny thing? Dude, after this like great Halloween scene, that's when the movie starts to get super depressing and E.T. almost dies and he finds them all dried up. Yo, dude.
I gotta watch. I have to watch E.T.
E.T. is one of the most emotional movies. You will never, I don't know anyone that could watch E.T. and not get sad for a fictional rubber alien, like a puppet. Like, you just feel for him, and he's not even a real thing. So good. Great scene. Great Halloween scene. I love it.
Trick or treat.
If you ain't just the cutest little ghost I ever did see.
Say it again.
Trick or treat, ma'am.
Well, I guess since Halloween was yesterday, you're just gonna have to trick me. And you missed them caramel popcorn balls I made up special.
So listen, I don't have as much to go on as you do because your scene was a lot more grander. I don't even know if that's a word, than this one. But I do have a little something to sprinkle into this. So my first pick is A Perfect World, which came out in 1993, and it was directed by Clint Eastwood. So this movie, I was 10 when this movie came out, and this movie was on all the time, like on HBO and stuff.
I've never seen it. I've never seen this movie.
I've seen it again. I haven't seen this since I was a kid, but this scene vividly sticks out in my head after finding it because I forgot about it. And basically, the movie is about Kevin Costner, and listen, this is a very, very abridged version of this summary here. Kevin Costner is an escaped convict, and he kidnaps a kid, and he tries to use the kid as what's the word I want to use here?
Leverage.
Leverage. Thank you. Just to be free or whatever, to go on his way. And the kid comes from a really religious home, and the parents aren't the best parents. And this particular scene I'm speaking about is the day after Halloween, and he takes the kid trick or treating. And the kid has never partaken in Halloween because the mother wouldn't let him. And he's dressed as Casper. Now, the movie takes place, like, when were those, like those Ben Cooper.
That was like the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, so it's something like, it's like that era of time. Yeah. And he's got like a Casper mask on. He's wearing all white. And he doesn't know what to do. He's got a bag, and Kevin Costner's like, say trick or treat. And he doesn't have the mask on, and he goes, put the mask on when she gets to the door. And she puts the mask on, and he's like, trick or treat, and he holds out the bag. And then the woman's like, oh, you're a day late. Halloween was yesterday. He's like, I'll take a trick, though. And she's like, oh, you missed my, I think it was...
caramel apples or something
or
like that.
Or candy corn. I think it was candy... No, not candy corn. Caramel corn. That's what it was. And... She looks at Kevin Costner, and Kevin Costner just flashes his gun handle, and she's like, I'll be right back. And that's it. That's the scene. But it's that scene stuck out to me so much as a kid. It's a weird movie.
Dude, he presses this lady.
Yo, he does.
He walks up to her and legit presses her with a gun. He threatens her. But now I have a question. Since I've never seen this movie, does Kevin Costner's character, does he have any redemption at the end? Like, from what you remember, like, does he become...
I honestly don't remember, but
okay.
I can tell you this. He is like, he becomes very fond of the kid and like, almost wants to take care of the kid because the kid comes from a very, what's the word? Again, you're going to have to help me with
like
this
a broken home?
I don't know. Exactly.
Yeah. It's because and you said Clint, I think you told me when we were texting about this, that Clint Eastwood directed this movie?
Yeah, he directed it.
Yeah, dude, I've never even heard of it. And I was like, wow.
He ends up being like a better dad than the real dad in the movie.
Yeah, so
this kid.
So Kevin Costner's
So there is some redemption for him, for sure.
I want honestly, dude, watching this scene, I was like, well, I gotta watch this movie. Are there any? Is it only this one scene? Do you ever see actual Halloween or just the next day?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
I think it's just the next day. I think it's just the next day.
Yeah, dude. When I watched it, I was like, yo, what is this? Just the fact that he pressed her and
it's
pulled
a weird scene.
Dude, he just like flashes the gun, almost implying like, yo, you better go back into your house.
Go get that candy, that corn, whatever, caramel corn. Go get that shit.
Yo, you think there's anyone that's actually done that? Like if they're like someone's like, I don't
sure.
In the hood, someone knocks on the door and then they're like, they don't celebrate Halloween and they just fucking flash their piece and then fucking they're like, all right, I'll be right back. Go give them a loaf of bread or some shit, anything they have at home. That'd be
give this kid something.
Yo, dude, that'd be fucked up and also kind of funny in a morbid way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just gotta like flashing your guns. Scary, dude. That is kind of scary though when you think about it.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
that. I'm sure there's been instant like some shit happens like that. So in history of just trick or treating.
Yeah. And again, that scene itself is just one of those scenes that kind of stick with you.
Yeah.
For a long time, you know.
Hey, you remembered it, man. I never heard about this movie until you mentioned it, and now I kind of want to watch it. So
it's a good movie.
Leave him alone, man. He's had enough. On the side when he's had enough, man. What is wrong with you, Johnny? The enemy deserves no mercy.
So my second Halloween scene from a non-Halloween movie. Once again, I would say this scene and some of the stuff in these scenes might be even more iconic than some stuff that happened in E.T. Probably more iconic than that E.T. scene. And that E.T. scene
definitely
is
the E.T. scene, not the I wouldn't say the movie, but
not
the
the
E.T.
movie
scene. Yeah.
But this aspects of this scene in pop culture are probably more known to people than just that E.T. scene I talked about. And that is the Halloween dance scene in The Karate Kid from 1984.
Yeah, that's great.
There is a Cobra Kai show on now. So if that tells you anything about just the longevity of The Karate Kid, that there is a series on Netflix right now that is a follow-up to the original trilogy. I think even the fourth movie, like just a follow-up to Mr. Miyagi and Daniel LaRusso and all that. So the plot, everyone knows. I'm sure most of our listeners, you guys know the plot of The Karate Kid. You've got, Daniel-san, who moves to California with his mom from, I think, New Jersey, if I remember correctly. and he's getting bullied and all that stuff by Johnny Lawrence and the Cobra Kai, and he gets beat up. And then he becomes friends with Mr. Miyagi, who trains him the art of karate. And then he goes up against Cobra Kai at the tournament, and then beats Cobra Kai. We all wax on, wax off. We all know about the Karate Kid. But in this scene, you've got Daniel going to the high school's Halloween dance. Now, one of the funniest things about this is that Daniel is dressed as a shower. He's literally has a curtain. He has like a rod that's on, it's like connected to his back, and it's just like almost like a hula hoop, and then a curtain wrapped around him.
It's cool.
It's great. Funny thing, the first slasher movie that I ever wrote, like the first movie I ever worked on that I wrote, we recreated that shower costume and had someone wearing that at a party before like the killer came and slaughtered a bunch of people.
Was it easy to make?
I didn't make it, but I know that someone was dressed like it. Someone that was involved with the props put it together, because I think that was an idea we had when we had. I don't remember how the idea popped up, but I think we were like, oh, let's have someone dressed up as a shower, like as a reference to the Karate Kid. And going back to the scene, you got Daniel and his girlfriend Allie, Elizabeth Shue. Very popular actress.
Totally forgot she was in this.
Yeah, she's the girlfriend. She kind of gets fizzled out as I feel like Daniel has a new girlfriend in every installment in the series. That's basically how it was.
I have a confession.
Yes.
Don't care for these movies.
Hey man, I'm sure you're not alone. I'm a big fan of all of them. I think
this scene though is great. I fuck with this scene.
I think they're all great movies. I like them all. I honestly, the only one I've never seen is the remake with like Will Smith's kid and Jackie Chan.
I couldn't tell you anything about
that.
Except for this.
That I have zero interest in the remake, but I do like the originals. I even like the Cobra Kai TV show. I think it's fun. It's stupid, but it's fun. But yeah,
heard it's good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's connected. Like they do a fantastic job connecting the show to all the previous films except for the remake, like the original trilogy, and even I have a feeling the fourth film's gonna get referenced soon too. But the one with Hilary Swank, that's when Ralph Macchio wasn't in the series anymore.
Does she still act? I haven't heard anything from her.
I have no idea.
She's great in Boys Don't Cry.
She is great in that. But yeah, you've got Daniel, you've got Allie, Elizabeth Shue. They're making up at this Halloween dance party. Everyone's dancing. They're having a good time. You know, the Cobra Kai's there, and I don't want to talk about them just yet. But what ends up happening is there's a dude. First things first, there's a band performing, like some new wave shit at the Halloween party. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of great costumes in there. Like everyone, there's a guy just a Spider-Man. There's a bunch of costumes. It looks like an authentic gymnasium at a high school and kids having a party. Like they did a great job just kind of putting everything together. Now, there's a guy at this Halloween party dressed as a chicken slamming real eggs on people, like throwing them at people and like smashing them on their head. So what happens is this chicken guy walks up in like by the curtain and like by Elizabeth Shue and Daniel and smashes a egg on him, and he has to go clean. I'm a mess. I have to go clean this up. So what happens? He goes to the restroom, and when he goes into the restroom to clean up all the egg, he bumps into Johnny Lawrence. But he doesn't bump into him. He notices that Johnny, I guess I think one of Johnny's friends is like talking to him. He's rolling a doobie. He's rolling like a joint in one of the stalls. So again, there's a lot of bullying going on with Daniel and Johnny Lawrence and Cobra Kai. So he ends up using a hose to kind of wet Johnny.
Yeah, he does it and then puts it on the stall.
On the stall and just kind of wet him. Now, before I go into what happens next, the most iconic thing about this entire scene, and one of the most iconic things in Karate Kid in general, is obviously Cobra Kai and their skeleton jumpsuit costumes.
So good.
Which, like, the entire Cobra Kai is dressed up as these skeletons. And funny enough, the new show actually redid it. There's another dance party, like I think set on Halloween, and one of the kids dresses up in that costume too, like as part of Cobra Kai. Like that, they redid basically the kids dressed up as skeletons again. I always love that shit, dude. Like I always love the skeleton. Like we've talked about our love for the skeleton jumpsuit as a costume, but the way it looks,
this is like that. This is where it comes from, though.
Yeah, like
for me is like this. Yeah.
Anytime anyone sees a group of people wearing skeleton costumes, they just think of Cobra Kai and they think of of the Karate Kid. And it's just a great kind of setup leading to, and this entire scene is important because this scene leads to Daniel learning that Mr. Miyagi knows karate, and he kind of begs him to train him how to fight and stuff. So what happens? They Daniel wets Johnny. Johnny and the rest of Cobra Kai chase Daniel out of the school, through this field. It becomes very atmospheric because he hops atmospheric. Dude, I love it. So it's very Halloween-y, and that's what I love about in this random karate movie from the 80s. So he's running through this field. He hops this fence in like this industrial warehouse looking area, and it's foggy as shit. And then you've got all of Cobra Kai wearing their skeleton jumpsuits, beating up Daniel, like just beating him up, knocking him out, doing spin kicks. One of the guys was like, Johnny, come on, Johnny, stop beating him up.
He's had enough.
He's had enough, Johnny. Let him go, let him go. And then you've got Mr. Miyagi, like a creepy creature. You see him like out of focus behind Cobra Kai, climbing the fucking fence. And then he beats the shit out of Cobra Kai. And he like
pushes Danielson away. Sorry, I cut you off.
No worries. He pushes him. No, he as Mr. Miyagi's jumping down into this foggy, atmospheric vaporwave scene with karate skeletons.
Vaporwave.
he gently pushes Daniel out of the way and then starts to beat up Cobra Kai. And like I said, dude, that's basically where Daniel learns that Mr. Miyagi again knows karate, and like I said, just everything about the setup similar to the ET scene, and that's why I wanted to talk about these scenes and why they're just so great when it comes to like representing Halloween as a holiday. Just that fog, they didn't need to add that fog into that scene, if you think about it.
But thank goodness they did.
But thank goodness, because it adds this creepy kind of vibe to it, and it works because it's Halloween, and I just love that. I just love how they went out of their way to do that, and then on top of that, having the Cobra Kai in their costumes, just everything about it, and like the costumes don't look lazy and cheap. They look like they actually the kind of production. The film design, the design of the film, the person that kind of set up the set designer and all that stuff did a fantastic job just putting so much detail into everything, even the makeup on Cobra Kai, on their faces and the jumpsuit. And there's like a headpiece that covers their hair to make it look more like a skull. Just everything about it is fantastic. And like I said, my two picks are kind of basic because everyone knows them, but they're what every Halloween film to me tries to emulate. When it comes to a Halloween set film, this is what you want. You want a scene like this scene in The Karate Kid that just oozes Halloween atmosphere and has such small details that work so well. The lighting, the costumes, everything. Dude, everything is perfect about this scene and the ET scene.
I agree, and I bet you this Karate Kid scene was in the Are You Afraid of the Dark episode of the Twisted Claw, when the kids are running away from the bullies, and it's the same thing, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Where there's I guarantee you, they just were like, let's do a scene like that. And they do it well, because it's atmospheric as hell, that scene, too. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, for sure. And that's kind of the biggest thing about it, because this movie's really about the relationship between Daniel and Mr. Miyagi, but they just tossed in this really cool set piece that's set on the best holiday ever, and just the way they were able to play it out so perfectly and fit the holiday into the scene.
Yeah, its execution was spot on.
Oh, spot on. It's perfect. Yeah. To me, it's probably between my two picks, between the Karate Kid and the ET, and I love them both, I probably lean more towards the Karate Kid just because they were able to kind of make it dark.
I agree.
That scene where they're beating up Daniel in the fog wearing their skeleton costumes just looks like. And like you always talk about shitty kids on Halloween. That's exactly what Cobra Kai is.
Exactly what that is.
So it's just perfect, dude. Both my picks to me are just perfect Halloween scenes.
Yeah.
And they're both in movies that have nothing to do outside of these scenes with the holiday. And I love them both, man. I love them both.
These are the Neon Maniacs. They live so others may die.
My second pick is a scene from the movie Neon Maniacs, which came out in 1986 and is directed by Joseph Mangine. I will go with Mangine.
Mangine.
So, spoiler alert ahead. If you've never seen Neon Maniacs, you might not want to listen to this. I'll give you a second. Okay. Neon Maniacs is... Have you seen Neon Maniacs, Louie?
So here's something funny before you go into Neon Maniacs. There's 3 movies that I always get confused with each other. And I own all 3 of them. I have copies of all 3 of them. So these are the 3 movies I get confused. Because I'll be very honest, Neon Maniacs isn't one of my favorite things ever. So these are the 3 movies. Spookies, Neon Maniacs, and Black Roses. There are elements of all those movies I constantly get confused about. And I enjoy all 3 of them. Don't get me wrong. But they're not movies I'd say I'd revisit that often. Like
that's fair.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I get all 3 confused. I'll be honest, I have not sat through Neon Maniacs in at least 7-8 years. It's been a long time since I've sat and watched Neon Maniacs.
No worries. I think Neon Maniacs is one of the finest 80s horror movies.
This inspired me to give it a rewatch soon. So
yeah, it's great. It's great. So a very brief synopsis of Neon Maniacs. Neon Maniacs is about these group of mutants, monsters, whatever you want to
they're
call
almost,
them.
you know what they remind me of? The creatures from Nightbreed almost, but like a
they're definitely a cheaper version.
A lower budget version of the night. It's like the Nightbreed monsters, but in like a more urban setting.
Nightbreed.
Bootleg. Well, they're not as, I guess they're a little more. They're like the ghetto version of.
It's just bad.
They're ghetto.
I mean, they're
versions.
cool. They're cool in their own way.
Real quick,
but
is Neon Maniacs set in New York?
No, it's set in California.
That's California.
They live. So the Neon Maniacs live under the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes, that's what it is. I knew it was a bridge.
And there's like no rhyme or reason to it. They just come out and they basically wreak havoc on this town that they're in. I guess it's San Francisco they're in.
And each Neon Maniac has its own little personality, right? They all have like their own look and weapon. And
they
all
have
stuff.
like their own little tarot cards too, which is weird. But anyway, that's really what it is. Like, that's all I can tell you. It's I don't want to call it a slasher movie. I don't know if it's a monster movie. It's both. You know what I mean?
I think it leans more. It's like a zombie movie. It's almost like if The Blob was monsters, like on feet. You know what I mean? Like just these creatures that kind of roam together and start slaughter. Again, like Nightbreed, but instead of bothering them and, you know, they're innocent, these are actually bad monsters that want to kill people.
Right. They're just shitty monsters that just want to fuck with everybody.
Yeah.
So there's your brief synopsis. I highly recommend checking this movie out. Also, I think it's Terror Vision. They just put out the score to this movie. And the score to this movie is pretty good.
It is good.
So I would
agree.
check it out. So now back to the matter at hand here. This Halloween scene that is in this movie is probably one of the best Halloween scenes there is in movies. Like, we get this Halloween dance, and now it's very adjacent to the Karate Kid one. So
yeah,
we get a Halloween dance, and it's almost like a battle of the bands. And this battle of the band / dance is literally filled with tons of people in costumes, and you got nuns, Invisible Man. I have pretty sure
one costume stuck out to do
Go
it.
ahead.
That's my Halloween costume, dude. I'm gonna wear bandages around my head,
great. Sunglasses.
a pair of Ray-Bans,
Or goggles, whatever it is.
and a beanie on top of my head, dude. I was
great.
like, yo, that looks like me with bandages on my head. That's basically what that character was.
It's amazing.
I wanted to know what that character, like, what was that? The Invisible Man, but wearing a beanie and Ray-Bans on, like a lazy Invisible
It's
Man.
great.
I love it. I'm just like, yo, that's gonna be a costume I wear this year. That's lit. And he's just wearing like a hoodie. and like I said, and like a beanie, like rolled up beanie, and a pair of Ray-Bans. And bandages on his face. Amazing. I'm doing that this year. That's my Halloween costume right now. One of my Halloween costumes.
And now listen, being that this is like a Halloween dance, the Neon Maniacs look like they're in costume too. So
that's that's like the coolest part. Just kind of how
Right.
people don't realize that they're not guests at the party.
So just to rewind just a little bit for more context to part of there's an aspect to this Halloween party is that they hand out water guns to the people at this Halloween dance. Now, the reason why they do that is because the Neon Maniacs are afraid of water and it damages them, which is funny because they live under the Golden Gate Bridge, but that's whatever.
Don't try to make sense of Neon Maniacs.
Right. So all these people have these water guns, and one of the main characters, I believe her name is Carla, is a really cool like teenage girl who's into makeup effects, and she makes masks and she does all this stuff, and she's dressed as like a really cool looking Dracula, and she's way younger than all the other kids at this Halloween dance. So she's in on the plan. There's I can't give you the whole plot of this movie because I'm not reviewing this movie right now. So I'm trying to give context. There's a main, like the main characters, there's a main girl, a main guy, and then there's Carla, and there's so those three. And basically they're waiting for the Neon Maniacs to come to this Halloween dance so they can kill them in the Halloween dance.
I know. Oh my god. It's so ridiculous.
And then they finally do show up, and it's just a slaughter. Everybody's getting killed.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, okay. And then, dude, and the Neon Maniacs are like creeping there. They're not even like in a rush to get to this party either. They're like literally just kind of slowly moving towards the fucking party. It's so ridiculous.
But if we remove the Neon Maniac element of the movie, this Halloween party is fucking great. You got
it's similar, like you
playing.
said. It's similar to the Karate Kid.
It really is.
Sorry to cut you off there.
No, it's fine. And we have like this 80s pop band that plays, and the song that they start off with is a pure banger. It's so good.
I agree.
And then there's like a hair metal band
with a whip. He's got like one of those I forget what you call it, cat of nine tails or something like that. He's
very flamboyant, very he's touching himself and hitting his leg. And the chorus of the song is, "We've had enough. We've had enough."
Dude, you want to know something funny? When I was watching the clip, I thought it was the same band, but they just changed. When it went dark, it went from the new wave band.
2 stages. Yeah,
I know. And then I was like, wait a second, did that band just turn into the hair metal band? But then now that you say about it, it makes sense how it's 2 different stages.
It's like a battle of the bands Halloween dance party,
and the 2 bands are completely different types of music. It's amazing.
And it's just one of those movies. It has a lot of, because this movie is not a Halloween movie in any capacity.
No,
but
at all.
The scene has atmosphere to it. The whole movie has atmosphere to it, and it's just a great Halloween scene. Just the way it's done. There's so many people dressed up in this one, this segment of the movie, and it's a party you'd want to be at. I can't see how no one would ever want to be at this Halloween dance because it's to me it was done perfectly.
Yeah, it's again, you said it and I said it a couple times. It's very reminiscent of the Karate Kid. These are supposed to be high school kids too at this concert.
But they're definitely not high school.
No, they're all they're in their 30s. They're
all
supposed
their
to be
mid-20s.
They're supposed to be 17. Yeah, dude, it's so funny because I'll be honest, this. So when they cut to outside shots of the Neon Maniacs, nothing about it screams Halloween. But it's everything contained inside of this building is very Halloween.
Exactly.
So it's one of those situations where Neon Maniacs, when comparing it to something like the Karate Kid or E.T., they didn't have a big budget on this movie. Nowhere near probably the money that those
it had a
two
budget,
movies had.
but not like that.
Not like those. Those are two
Right.
big Hollywood movies. So Neon Maniacs is not a big Hollywood movie. So I'm sure that kind of plays into why it looks a little more low budget. It's funny because this scene, this Neon Maniacs Halloween party concert scene, reminds me of Black Roses. I don't know why, dude. That's why I said I always get that whole like, you know, I think Lizzie Borden is the band that performed, like the song is from Lizzie Borden in the beginning of Black Roses, where they're like monsters performing on stage. It's a fucking banger song too.
It's amazing.
But dude, I'm telling you, Black Roses, Neon Maniacs, and Spookies is like the ultimate triple feature. Because all three of those movies, dude, there's things in each of those movies I forget. Because they're all about like monsters and there's like bands playing and there's like, I don't think there's any in Spookies, but there's like 20-year-olds portraying 15-year-olds or 30-year-olds playing younger. It's like all just like the three movies definitely feel like they're in the same universe, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, like it's go ahead.
No, it's a good scene. I'm glad you picked this one because honestly, this didn't even come to mind to like for me at least when it comes to like, Halloween scenes.
I talked about it already.
No, dude, I honestly I don't think you've mentioned maybe Neon Maniacs on the show, but I don't think you ever mentioned this scene. I didn't even know there was a Halloween scene in Neon Maniacs. I didn't even remember it. So imagine there's like I said, it inspired me to want to go back and watch Neon Maniacs. It's been a while, so I have to check it out again.
I have it on tape. I'll send you a picture of it so you can post it in the on the Haunted Hangover Instagram.
Now I think you might have answered this. Between my two scenes, you're leaning more towards Karate Kid as your favorite.
Definitely.
Why? I just want why is that one? Why do you like that one more than the ET one?
Because
the ET one has a lot going for it.
My infatuation with the skeleton jumpsuit comes from this movie.
And the vaporwave aesthetic with the fog.
Yes. So there you go. That's why.
Now, for me, out of your two scenes, as much as I love the Neon Maniacs, listen, dude, both of your picks are ridiculous. I'm going to be very honest. They're both very ridiculous. Would you expect anything
else?
No, I would not expect anything else from you. I'm probably going to go for, what's the name of the Kevin Costner movie again?
A Perfect World.
Oh, Perfect World. I'm probably going to go with A Perfect World scene just because of how, like, tough Kevin Costner was in that 2-minute long scene that he forced the lady to celebrate Halloween on November 1st. And that's something I gotta respect. Yeah. I gotta respect. We always talk about how shitty November 1st is. My man Kevin Costner.
Not for this kid, it wasn't.
My man Kevin Costner rolled up with the piece and was telling this older lady, hey, give the kid some caramel, whatever.
Break yourself. Get some candy.
Get him some candy or he's about to pop. Some shit's about to pop off. Yo, Kevin Costner's a G in that movie, man. I've got to see it. Dude, I got to watch Neon Maniacs and that Kevin Costner movie.
I'm telling you, that movie was on all the time. A Perfect World.
Yeah.
All the time. And I remember,
watch
like
it.
I said, I was like, oh shit, I remember this scene. It sticks with you. It's an unnerving scene.
It's stuck with me. I was like, damn, is he really going to shoot this lady? So
yep.
Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. You have to watch the movie to find out.
And listen, I'm gonna leave it at this. If you've never seen Neon Maniacs, buy it. Buy it on Blu-ray. I think it's got a Scream Factory release or something. Or buy the tape. It's an expensive tape, but it's worth having on VHS too. So check it out.
You're telling me that these things are inside the Golden Gate Bridge. 1. 2, that they only come out at night. That they're responsible for the death of 15 or more kids and 3 of my police officers.
So that was some of our favorite Halloween scenes from non-Halloween movies, part 2. Be sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Haunted Hangover. And also check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/HauntedHangover31.
And if you can rate and review us, that would be greatly appreciated.
And remember, the best cure for a hangover is
more booze.
Catch you guys later.